Welcome to Deep River Farm, folks. We're here this afternoon. We just letting the chickens get a final little bit of little feed. They've been out foraging all day, eating bugs and flies and ants and fish and worms and just whatever they run across. Natural stuff, you know. But today's video, and we're gonna have to hurry. I hear it cracking a little thunder. Got a lightning warning and this, that, and the other, that we got a storm a-coming. But what we want to talk about here is what do you plant where when you go to planting your crops. So we're going to cover that today. We've talked about our garden position, where we want our garden. It's best that when the sun comes up over here, that all day long it's getting direct sunlight. We've talked about the types of soil that you run across and getting soil tests and all that kind of stuff. We've talked about heirloom seeds and genetically modified organism seeds, GMOs. We've talked about hybrids and that sort of thing. But this video here is going to be talking about what do I plant where. And this is something you got to think about. The sun's low in the morning, it gets up and you know, positions around and then sets back in the west back here. So you got to take that into consideration. You never want to plant your taller plants in front of your smaller plants. In other words, if your end of your garden's facing east, as the sun gets toward the south, you don't want a 7-foot tall trellis out here blocking pepper plants and squash and bush beans and stuff like that. You would want to make sure that your taller stuff is on the other side and your smaller stuff's out here not getting shaded. I hope that makes sense to you. The problem being, nothing grows good in the shade. You can walk around the outside of a field where the trees are overhanging and notice, even if it's a grass field, that there's not much grass growing around the edge of the field. It's especially prevalent on big fields where they may be growing soybean or corn or something like that you'll notice nothing grows good on the outside edges because it's getting the shade and it's also getting sap and stuff and acid drops off of the trees. That's why we talked about garden location is the key to your success. You're also going to need to use a crop companion chart. If you're getting ready to grow strawberries, you need to find out, well, what will grow best with the strawberries. And I'll tell you what grows real good next to them. And this is going to be listed on your crop companion chart. And that is squash. Squash is a good product to grow right beside of your strawberries. But you do not want to grow tomatoes close by or next to. Now, in a raised bed situation, if you've not got your beds connected and they're separated, you can get by a little bit closer on that because you're not having to worry about the roots running together or anything like that. But the main reason there's crop companion charts are good to utilize is because some crops attract insects that other plants can't tolerate. So you'll have a plant, an insect problem. So you got to keep that in mind. You want to use a crop companion chart. You can download one of those off of Google, no problem. Just put in crop companion chart. Plant what you eat. Don't go into the seed store and say, I believe I want these seeds, and 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 I want some of these seeds. Because if you do something like that, you're going to have a whole lot of stuff coming in, and it's going to be a small amount of each. It's not going to be enough to can. It's not going to be enough to do a whole lot with, you know. So plant what you eat and what you plan to can, what you can freeze, and plant enough for your goals. You know, if you want 80 quarts of green beans, you need to plant accordingly for that. You know, if you want 12 dozen ears of corn to freeze, you need to plant accordingly. You know, if you want to plant stuff for a homemade vegetable soup, you need to have enough tomatoes and enough okra and anything else you plan on putting in these jars. A lot of people will plant cantaloupe and they'll plant watermelon. You got to realize all these things are going to come in at one time, and you can't eat that much watermelon. You can't eat that much cantaloupe. So sometimes you have to think, is this financially viable for me? Could I use this location for more stuff that I'm going to can or freeze? You know, you can get a big melon patch and so forth, and it takes up a whole lot of room, and you're going to get 10 or 12 watermelons out of it, and, you know, several cantaloupe. Can you eat that much as they're all coming in at one time? And that's something you can't freeze, and you can't can it. And a lot of times you can just decide, you know, I might can just pick this up from the farmer's market to go along with what I'm going to eat, because it's going to take up a lot of room, and, you know, I can't do a lot with that. But I could plant corn there, and or, you know, some more tomatoes, and I could make salsa, or I could make, you know, canned tomato juice, or something like that out of it. But, you know, and that's up to you. You may be planning on selling watermelon and cantaloupe. You never know. But that's something you got to think about. You need to go ahead and get your seeds for the next year as well. And you can turn right around, take them out of your little seed packet, wrap them up in a paper towel, put them back in your seed packet, and put them in 2 freezer bags. Stick them in the freezer for long-term storage. Some people disagree with that scenario, but what it does, it begins the cold stratification process, and we're going to tag on to that later on after the winter, and show you the winter sowing and how this correlates with winter sowing. But go ahead and get your seeds for next year. Right now they're on sale big time. You can get a lot of them for half off, and if all possible, get a hold of you some heirloom seeds. That way you can save your seeds year after year. You're going to have the exact same product that you had growing there. We're waiting on our green beans to dry out. We got the Blue Lake, we got half runners. We'll also going to have seeds from our okra and our squash. So we're gonna save some of those seeds as well. But it's something you need to think about. The price of seeds are extremely high. You've got an opportunity, if you buy heirlooms, to save your own seeds. You don't have to worry about it, and you don't have to worry about you know, finding the seeds next year, because there's 4 companies that own 2/3 of the rights to the seeds and the pesticides. And we talked about that a little bit in the GMO and heirloom seed video that we did. But I want to tell you who they are. They BASF, Kim China, known as Syngenta, Bayer, Monsanto. Bayer owns Monsanto now, and Corteva. And until the post was taken down, one of them had on the internet that if we don't own it, you can't grow it. So what does that tell you, people? If they own 2/3 of the seeds out there and the pesticides, they want control of the seed market. They want to corner it. And the main GMO seeds that out there growing right now is your soybeans, corn, squash, believe it or not, canola, cotton, alfalfa, and sugar beets. And you know, it's just something you need to think about. if you got 4 companies owning 2/3 of the seeds, what's the objective here? It's to corner the market. If they can get you dependent upon GMO seeds or hybrid seeds and get the heirlooms out of the way, that means you have to go see them year after year to get your seeds. And they can restrict that if they ever go to a cashless society of being able and controlling what you can buy and what you can't buy. So think about that. That's what's happening out here. They're shutting down these farms and stuff. And we made a video about this, the marketing and stuff of products, and there's no regulation on it. And finally, on August the 28th, finally they have passed some kind of, or signed some kind of an executive order limiting the usage and verbiage of different things on labels to make it more in line with what it's supposed to be. Now we'll see if that goes anywhere or not, but milk was one of them, and I can't remember the other one right off the top of my head, but that's something that needed to be took care of a long time ago. And I just heard just today that a local dairy on the other side of the river from me is getting ready to sell out. They can't make it. And that dairy's been there since I was a little kid. I remember going on a field trip at school over there and going into the cattle barns and watching them milk them and all that. And I just heard today that they're gonna have to sell the farm. They just can't make it. Even with government subsidies, they still can't make it because there's just no profit in farming. I don't know what they're going to do, but I heard that they're going to sell out and possibly sell all the land too. But I wanted to touch base with you on what you need to plant where and why, and always remember to plant by the almanac. I've done a video called Planting by the Almanac, Root Crops and Above Ground Crops. You need to watch that before you plant. I know next weekend above ground crops, September the 7th and 8th, are going to be ready to go. And in about 14 to 20 days, I don't know the exact date, but the root crops will be ready to plant according to the almanac. And you need to watch that so you got a good idea of what you can do and by utilizing the almanac. Just trying to think if we need to cover anything else. We're going to be doing some more videos. We're trying to get our library restocked from where we lost that 489 videos that just disappeared. So we're trying to reboot that and get that going again. And we appreciate everybody that's been with us and continue to stay with us and support the channel. I appreciate you joining us today on Deep River Farm on What Do I Plant Where? I hope that answers any questions, helps you think about what you're doing there in the garden, what to plant, what not to plant. Use that crop companion chart and make sure your garden is in an ideal location. We have one of those videos as well about your garden location. You can go back in the video library and take a look at that as well. We want to make our library where people can go into it if they've got any questions and, see what they need to do. We've got stuff on the soil and pH balances and all that kind of stuff. So utilize the library, folks. It's there for you. I appreciate you joining us. It's getting ready to come up a big storm. I hear it rumbling, and we got to get the chickens up. Y'all have a blessed day.